So we have been doing complex numbers. We have a constant and then we have a number with an I. These problems, number 4, are a little bit funky, but all they're doing is wanting us to find a variable. We have to get the constants together. We have to get the i's together, okay? Now, on this first one, you might just be able to read it and know what's going on, but I'm going to encourage that we split it apart and set it equal because that's going to help for the next two. I see a number without an I on both sides, and I see numbers with i's on both sides. Our goal is to break it down to be that on both sides of the equation, get just constants, just i's, and then we're going to set them equal to each other. So we're breaking this equation apart and doing 5 equals x and -4 equals y, -4i equals yi. Now, 5 equals x, that's done. I have nothing to do, nothing to solve for. That's good enough. So 5 equals x, that's done. The next one, though, I do need to simplify to get y by itself. So I am going to get rid of that I that's with my I that's with my y. Those are two very similar sounding letters. Divide by I, my imaginary number on both sides. And when I do that, I'm just left with -4. So -4 equals y. That one was pretty simple because it was already set up, ready to go. The next two, we're going to have to do a little bit combining some simplifying before we're allowed to get to that. Okay, let's go look at letter B. Again, we got to do a little bit of simplifying. I see that I have my constant ready over on my left-hand side, but I've got two constants on my right-hand side. So let's combine those constants first, and then we'll set them equal. So I get x plus 6i. I can combine 3 and 4 to be 7. And then if I look at my y's, or my i's, I have 6i by itself on the left. He's good. And then I've got -i and -2yi. Unfortunately, I can't combine them, but let me at least sit them next to each other so we can kind of see what's next. I've got -i minus 2yi. I think it's easiest to do this in the next step as opposed to separating them, but I want us to factor an I out of both of those terms, okay? So I'm going to keep everything else the same, x plus 6i equals 7, and I'm going to pull a -i out of both of those terms. What's left if I take a -i out of both of those terms up there? 1 plus 2y. Very good. 1 plus 2y. Now we're going to set them equal just like we did before. We'll set our constants equal to each other, and then we'll set our i's equal to each other. Just like on the last one, this isn't true always, but just like on the last one, my constants have no solving to do. X equals 7, that's true, I'm good. Let it be. 6i equals -i times 1 plus 2y. You might be like, oh, Miss Hyde, that feels like a lot. I promise it's not. Let's divide that -i off of both sides. When I divide by -i, I get rid of it on my right-hand side, and my left just becomes -6. And then now that's like an algebra 1 equation. You can -1 divided by 2. I know we don't love getting kind of gross numbers, but as you maybe noticed on your quiz, and as you'll notice kind of on these notes, we don't always get nice, pretty numbers. Don't second guess yourself because you didn't get a nice, pretty number. That's something I'll tell you in geometry. It's okay to second guess yourself if you get a weird fraction because you should get nice numbers in geometry. Pre-cal is not the same. It's a little wild, wild west out here. Okay. Can we do one more like this? Okay. Last one like the same idea. Get your constants together, get your not constants together. So my constants over here, it's going to be -2 minus 2i. Nothing to combine that 2i with on the left side. And on the right side, I know that I can't combine x and 3, but they both don't have I, so let's sit them next to each other, okay? Don't forget to distribute that negative, so I get x minus 3 minus yi. And now I have my constants are next to each other, and I can set them equal to -2. And then my i's, I actually only have one of each I, so I can just set those equal to each other. -2 equals x minus 3. Add 3 to both sides and I get 1. And then I'll set my i's. Negative 2i equals negative yi. Divide by negative I. And I get 2 equals y. Not bad, right? It's doing okay. Flip your paper over when you're done. It's a little funky, but it's not terribly difficult. The last 2 problems of this section are actually pretty simple as well. I'm just going to use quadratic formula here. However, we're in our complex number section, so we're going to get some i's here. So that's what we're testing. Can we simplify with i's? If you forgot your quadratic formula, I'm going to write it up here at the top. And then I'm just going to silently solve mine out. You're going to hopefully write your quadratic. And then I'll be quiet while you solve yours out, and you can check in with me on your work. But quadratic formula, we're pretty good at, so I'm going to let you just kind of grind through with it. Keep working through it. A, B. I think you've kind of done this stuff back in algebra 2, so I won't kind of waste your time. Does this feel pretty good? Nice and easy, right? But I got letter A on the board. I'll leave it up there for a minute. You check in. When you think you got it, move on to letter B. Try that one. Try that one. All right, and I've got my letter B up on the board. Can you check when you're done? You're okay? I do want to do 2 more problems. I still have a couple minutes, so we're going to start P7 just because it's a long section. I got to get through all of it on Monday. So instead of pushing you like from bell to bell on Monday, we'll do 2 problems now. And you'll find them, I think, to be pretty simple. I think you'll remember how to do them. That being said, we've finished P6, so that's going to be due next class. I see you. So on Monday, I'll have that due. I do have office hours on Monday, so if you need help with this stuff, come see me. I am giving a geometry quiz to 3 periods on Monday, so if anyone came by today, it was pretty busy with geometry friends. So if you have a quick question, just interrupt me and I'll help you, okay? If you have a much deeper question, make sure to come see me or maybe set up a time outside of that or wait till Wednesday and I'll help you out then. Okay, last two problems I want to do. This is now P7. We're now in a new section. This says the absolute value of x minus 3 is less than 4, and we're solving without a calculator. I believe you did this last year in Algebra 2. We have to set this up two different ways. First way, we're going to set it up exactly as you see it. I'm going to do x minus 3 is less than 4. Then I'm going to take that inequality, I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to make the other side negative. So it's going to be x minus 3 is greater than negative 4. Does that maybe ring a bell for you? Okay, good. And then we'll just solve them separately, and then we'll see how they relate on one graph together, okay? So add 3 to both sides, and I get x is less than 7. And then I'll add 3 to both sides over here, and I get x is greater than or equal to negative 1. My question to you is, are those inequalities going towards each other or away from each other? Towards. Less than 7, greater than negative 1, that's covering the same ground. You could write them as one inequality. I could write 1 is less than x, which is less than 7. You don't have to, you can keep them as two separate ones, but I do want you to graph it so that we recognize that we started with this less than, and we're going to be going towards each other as we graph them. So I've got negative 1, I've got 7. We're going to open circle on both, and we're going to shade in the middle towards each other. To give ourselves a counter example of that, we're going to jump over to letter B, and it's going to be the exact same thing. The first one you write exactly as you see it. The second time you rewrite it and you flip your inequality and make the opposite side negative. So I will do x plus 6 is greater than or equal to 5 because that's exactly what I see. Then I'm also going to do x plus 6 is less than or equal to negative 5. And I'll minus 6. And I'll minus 6. And again, I'm going to graph it. And I want to know, are my inequalities now going towards each other or are they going away? Away, very good. And that is going to happen every time we do these greater than, less than kind of thing. So when I have this greater than, they're going away. When I have the less than, they're going towards. We'll do a couple more examples on Monday. We'll do a few other things to kind of round out this chapter. And then we finish the first chapter of recap. Okay. Awesome job. Great listening here at the end of the day or the end of the week. I guess it's still morning, right? We haven't had lunch yet.